And we're live. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Fandom Spotting. Today we have a three-person panel to talk about the Avengers, and hopefully we're going to cover all things Avengers. Well, actually, that would be impossible, but many things Avengers, from upcoming S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show to the comics and the movie, and then upcoming movie rumors. So I'm Laurel, and I'm Laurel on Dreamwidth, and ostensibly on Tumblr, but I never update there, and I'm Laurel on the Twitter. So, and I'll let the other panelists introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Hello Taylor, which is Hello Taylor on Tumblr and Twitter, as you can see from my little screenshot thing. Yeah, I love Avengers, although I've not read the comics, so these guys are gonna like fake geek girl me all the way through because I don't know anything. But yeah.
I'm Jess. I'm Dissociate on Tumblr and AcidPop25 on AO3, and that's about it for my fandom locations.
Cool. So we are also Fandom Spotting on Twitter and Fandom Spotting on Tumblr. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask us them on either of those two social media locations. So, want to kick it off talking about the movie, or what?
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna go like you were just telling me before we were on air about the X-Men movie. Like apparently the new one might like link up to the Avengers canon, and that's kind of like blowing my mind right now.
So I don't think they're gonna. Okay, so rumor has it that Joss is going to introduce a brother-sister character couple. Well, they're only a couple in Ultimates, but pair to Avengers 2, which has led everyone to basically think, oh, hey, that's probably Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. So, which is great.
I mean, I think he actually explicitly said Scarlet Witch at some point.
Did he? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
He probably...
or he wanted Scarlet Witch to be in the first movie, and then they were like, no.
Okay, so, but Days of Future Past, Bryan Singer has just confirmed that Evan Peters from American Horror Story has been cast as Quicksilver, although he didn't say whether or not he'll be Piotr, Maximoff, Magnus, Leshner. I don't really know what's going on with Magneto's last name, but he's Maximoff in most of the comics. So, as you can tell, this brings up an interesting question about copyright and who owns what characters, since the Marvel Universe is so intertwined. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are mutants, but they are also Avengers. So, what I'd heard before, when this question had come up, well before any casting rumors had come out, was that they can use them in X-Men, but can't talk about them being Avengers, or they could get pulled into the Avengers universe, but their connection to Magneto wouldn't be brought up, so they would just be like Avengers, and I don't think they're allowed to use the word mutants.
And then it would just be really confusing for everyone.
Right.
Just make it work without making their connection to Magneto explicit, but you'd be a lot harder pressed to not mention, oh, by the way, they're mutants, because otherwise everyone's going to be like, where did these powers come from?
Like, to me, it seems like with X-Men, you can basically have like as many characters as you can fit on screen, and it's, wow, okay. You can have like as many characters as you can fit on screen in X-Men, and it's still kind of okay, whereas like with the Avengers, I think if you get more than like the core team, it's just suddenly going to become like really overblown, because it's one of these sort of like Joss Whedon like small family cast thing where like everyone gets like their own backstory.
Well, I mean, I kind of wish they would do that more with Avengers. I love the Bryan Singer movies, but I feel like the background characters that got pulled in, especially in X3, which is not his movie, were used as kind of cast-off special effects, where like and one of my favorite comic writers, Brett White, tweeted this week, and like, if Quicksilver ends up in the movie, like, you can bet he'll probably just be used as a one-off prop or like special effect, not really given an in-depth characterization like the Juggernaut or Multiple Man Jamie Madrox was. And I think that's probably true. It kind of seems like a dick move. Like, Fox is pretty much just going for it. to keep the character, and I think maybe we might end up with Quicksilver on the X-Men side and Scarlet Witch on the Avengers side, since Scarlet Witch is kind of a more prominent character. Which I guess
I'm already just like really intrigued by the new X-Men movie, because it's like when they first kind of announced they're gonna have all this like business with like time travel and different timelines, and they're gonna have like the people from X-Men kind of the prequel and also from the present day kind of glued together. I was just like, holy shit, this sounds like a monstrous, like horrible cameo show. But now I'm kind of warming to it, because it seems to me like it's the most comic bookish movie ever, because it's like you've got so many characters in there. It's like when you're reading kind of like one of these ridiculous like smash-up comics where they're like, let's put everyone in.
Well, Days of Future Past is an actual comic storyline too, unlike the other X-Men films, which kind of only obliquely followed. Like, that wasn't really a particularly good adaptation of the Phoenix Saga, which is probably one of the most famous X-Men storylines. I would say, like, Days of Future Past, Dark Phoenix, God Loves, Man Kills. That's a one-shot, though. Anyway, it'd be like... It's not quite to, like, the level of Civil War on the Avengers, but if it's like they're adapting a really well-known arc. But they're doing it kind of weirdly. Like, I'm not really sure what's going on, because...
Well, it's going to be difficult, because the prequel wasn't based on a comic, really. Like,
no, and they really messed the canon up.
And the timelines are wonky, too. I mean, because Emma Frost, in the original, in the comics canon, dates Cyclops, but she's, you know, this grown character when...
So when Cyclops' younger brother is like there, but Havoc is kind. But like the Summers family is always like in the time stream. Let's be real.
Yeah, but Emma not so much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
that's only one of many problems I had with Emma Frost's character, but we're kind of digressing into an X-Men show.
Well, I just tweeted that we're now just talking about Marvel, so you know,
I kind of want to talk about X-Men now, because it's like I've actually read some X-Men comics, so. And also, like, I've been seeing all these pictures of the new movie, and I'm just really excited about how like ugly all the clothes are. Just like,
oh my god, yeah, the historical clothes are pretty.
It's just like so beautiful. Like, to be honest, like in the first movie, like it doesn't actually look like real 1960s clothing, but I feel like they're going more real this time just by how ugly the pictures I've seen.
Oh my god, Professor
X. Yeah, there's that one picture of
Professor X wearing like
that horrible 70s
brown flares. Just but that picture like bugged me so much, because like if you look at his wheelchair, it's like the worst wheelchair of all time, because it's like you can't even sit up in it properly. Like, he's gonna fall off. He's not like, it just looks so kind of like orthopedically unsafe and weird and like.
Yeah, I don't know why they never give these dudes like sweet looking wheelchairs. Like, at least the first X-Men trilogy gave him like a sweet floating wheelchair and shit. But I think out of comics characters, Oracle is the only one that ever got like an actual like athletic looking wheelchair with like the angled wheels.
Well, it looks like an actual wheelchair, unlike the thing that like Xavier has in like the Days of Future Past picture, where you're just like, this is not a vehicle that would move.
To be real, they should just give him the floating bright yellow one from the cartoons, because
I was just thinking.
I mean, fuck it, y'all. That's obviously the coolest one. I think I think my big hesitation for this new movie, though, is like I really enjoyed watching First Class like a lot.
Same.
And it felt like they really like nailed the metaphor that X-Men always are, but while simultaneously the actual storyline was like really sexist and got kind of racist. Like mysterious. Like, you got this really great metaphor going on that. You know,
and then the actual movie itself was just like, actually, we're morons.
Right. It's like every single woman in this movie is in their lingerie or naked at some point, and it's like...
I was so annoyed at the scene where, what's her name, Moira, like...
Yeah.
Just random, and it was like the most unrealistic underwear scene I've ever seen in my entire life.
Why is she wearing
this
club?
Like amazing like lingerie underneath her like kind of normal like everyday office outfit? It's like, not to say that some women don't actually wear like amazing lingerie every day, but it's like it just didn't seem real to me as someone who is like sitting around in a steakhouse, some random old guy like
Right.
Just no.
Like, it just seemed like a dumb plan to begin with, and it was like, this is really gratuitous, like, so grotesquely gratuitous, and, like, Emma Frost owns that shit, and I feel like writers have really taken her character to a point where it doesn't feel gratuitous at all anymore.
She's like the one character in comics where, like, she can walk around wearing, like, a white cape and, like, a white thong and, like, thigh-high boots, and I'm like, it's Emma Frost, that's fine, that's her thing. With everyone else, I'm just like, please stop now.
Right, and then they made, Angel a stripper, which, you know...
What was she in the comics?
Just kind of a pissed off girl.
Yeah.
She got kicked out of her house.
She wasn't there.
Angel Salvador was she like got kicked out of her house and got picked up by Wolverine. And I guess
like everyone.
I was about to say it's like he adopts people
she has a lot of like lower class indicators in her characterization and her clothing, so she dresses kind of like, you can't see my air quotes, but like, you know, trashier than a lot of the other people at the Xavier School. But like, you know, she's like kind of a cool badass character that's like angry and kind of a weird misfit, not like super sexy, what's her face? Who played her? Zoe.
I don't know, but she was going out with Michael for a while, and that weirded me out because she's like she's
Zoe
Jason
Kravitz.
Momoa's, Zoe Kravitz. So it's like Jason Momoa is her stepfather, and it's like she's the same age as Jason Momoa almost, but also then she was dating a guy who was older than her stepfather, and I was just like, this is a weird Hollywood web of like strange age differences.
Right, and I liked, like, I feel like Days of Future Past almost hit this point where like they kind of buffed up the bad side with more minorities. Like we had Emma Frost as a woman, and then
Azazel.
Azazel was I think Latino. So then Angel,
I noticed that when I was watching the movie, and I was like,
Right, so you're on like one hand, I get it because I feel like if you were a mutant and also a minority, like if you were like a person of color or a lady or queer, like maybe Magneto's doctrine or whatever would be more compelling to you, but they don't really set that up because it's not Magneto.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I feel like that's something like that we kind of think about, because like we're kind of fandomy people, so we like overthink everything. But like if you're like an average viewer, I don't know if you're really gonna pick up on that much.
Right, like I think it would make
like, so it just comes across as just like suddenly like you've divided the line, and it's like Charles Xavier has got like this kind of really kind of middle class,
I had problems with that whole scene
anyway,
where Eric's like, where they're on the beach and Eric's telling everyone they have to choose right now, because in that scene, right, Mystique is just like, yeah, I'll go with you, even as, you know, my brother figure who's like taking me in and giving me everything is lying shot in the sand. Hope you're okay, Charles. Like,
yeah, that made like no sense to me at all. And
yeah, I liked the Mystique, like I liked Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique fine, but I don't really feel awesome about how they shifted. Like, I guess we never really
there was a pacing problem there.
It seemed like they'd cut out like at least one or two like scenes with Mystique and Charles, because when after I saw the movie, people were like, "Oh, did you see all this subtext where Mystique was in love with her brother?" And I was like, "Really? Was that a thing?" And I couldn't tell whether that was something they were trying to put in, or whether that was just something some people were seeing in it. Because like that was the reason why some people were saying that's the reason like she was drawn away from him, because like he wouldn't return her love or something.
That's gross. I don't like that.
I know. That weirded me out, and I was just like, that doesn't seem...
I mean, she could be in love with him, but I don't really feel like Mystique is a character that's easily swayed by... Like, she should be a character, even younger Mystique. Like, I don't love the change to her backstory, and Mystique is a character that, like, we don't really get one for a long period of her character's history.
I really liked her in the movie. I really just wanted a movie where she and Charles could be brothers. And I was just like, why can't that be?
That is introducing like a completely new character dynamic to her, which sort of worked, but I feel like maybe the movie didn't do... Like, if they're gonna set it up like this, it needs to do more with it.
It's
like, they need to justify
this. How they attach that to the kind of movies that are set in the present day, because it's like, I'm pretty sure that in like the X-Men trilogy, there is like nothing whatsoever even hinting that Mystique has any kind of connection to Xavier.
Yeah, that they
exactly.
Like nothing. Yeah.
And they do have like a really awesome thing where it's like Eric and Mystique are like hilarious.
I love their bro ship
there. So funny, like amazing bro ship, but
Well, because Mystique's a great character, but in the comics she sort of appears fully formed and then is like some like 200-year-old lesbian, basically.
Really?
And Rogue's foster mom.
Yeah.
Oh no, I heard about that. Mostly because I follow Ginger Haze on Tumblr and she has this running joke where like Mystique is everyone's mother secretly. And it's like
she could be, yeah. No, she's in a long-term relationship with like a psychic-ish character called Destiny. So, you know. Oh, so anyway, that's I'm wondering how they're gonna deal with all their characterization shenanigans, like the characters there. Like you characters, but it's just a little like I hope that they treat them all well. I have a lot of personal feelings about X-Men though, obviously. Do you want to keep talking about that? Do we want to talk about Avengers?
It's like we're supposedly the Avengers podcast, but it's like it's so long ago since the movie came out. I'm just like, who are these people? Except for like the vast quantity of like Clint Coulson fanfic I read.
Well, we could talk about Coulson since everybody loves Coulson.
Do you not love Coulson?
I do like Coulson.
There are definitely some people who hate him. Like, I've seen on Tumblr people getting annoyed by the quantity of people, like, tumbling about him, and it's like, sorry, honey, like, it's just gonna get worse. When the Shield comes out, my whole blog is just gonna be pictures of Clark Gregg, like, doing some dumb thing in a GIF, like, wearing a suit identically every day.
I mean, I like Coulson, but I just, I guess I sort of wish that there was more love for canon Shield characters.
like Maria Hill, or...
Well, like Maria Hill,
canon is always kind of meant to be unlikable, though.
Right.
Even when she's doing the right thing, she is unlikable about it.
But Bobby Morse, love her. Like Mockingbird.
Mockingbird is cool.
What's what's her name? The woman that looks exactly like Maria Hill but isn't.
Oh yes, I can see you're really invested in this character.
I know, but I mean, it's just like, it would be nice to have, like, maybe they could have had cameos in Avengers.
Well, they might have, like, some comic characters in S.H.I.E.L.D. Because, like, they're definitely going to have some, like, little cameo stuff later. I mean, obviously, I've read, like, a lot of stuff about kind of Joss Whedon being like, we don't want this to be a cameo show, but they, like, I think the actress who plays Maria Hill wants to be in it, and, like, they want her to be in it, and she's recognized the character or whatever, so...
Yeah. Well, if they were already sort of kind of planning that show, it may be that they made a deliberate decision to save the canon S.H.I.E.L.D. characters more for that, where
That's
they could
true.
have more screen time and a longer development instead of just being kind of hanging in the background in the movie. Or maybe I'm giving them too much credit. I don't know.
But I mean, if they were in the background in the movie, then it would be kind of like, it would make more sense to see them pop up in the show, I guess.
I don't know, what if they could just kind of have like a random cameo from like, what's his name, the guy who was playing that video game in the background.
Oh, Galaga guy?
Yeah, Galaga guy. he's like the Avengers equivalent of that guy in Stargate Atlantis who did nothing except operate the gate. And then he was like so popular that they had to give him lines because everyone was just like, we love the guy who operates the gate. Phantom gave him a name and they had to cast him with that name.
I'm really excited, as a really quick aside, by the tiny fandom of people who got cameos in the Star Trek film, like Aisha Hines, because I love her.
Yeah, no, I was like, as soon as I saw her on screen, I was like, I hope this is a character, and it's like, they kept just kind of panning the camera, like, in front of her, like, this is a character, but we cut out one of her lines or something, because it was
Right.
like, yeah. But, like, I like, also, like, when I was watching, there's this girl who's, like, the most kind of, like, indie kid girl ever, and I was like, I love that they've, like, gone for the hipster demographic on the Enterprise. This girl with kind of, like, white sweeping hair across her face, and I'm just like, yeah, sure ditch.
So, so what do we want to talk about, like, Avengers-wise? Like, I don't want to fake geek girl you, but there are a lot of Avengers titles right now.
You can absolutely fake geek on me. I can just nod in the background while you guys talk about stuff that you actually know about and I don't. It's fine.
Well, I'm not reading a ton. I'm reading New Avengers, which is, like, being subsumed by a different title right now, and Avengers Assemble. I'm not reading Uncanny Avengers, but, I guess that's what I was gonna... Uncanny Avengers has...
Is Young Avengers the one with Kid Loki? Because I've read one of those.
Young Avengers is, and Young Avengers is fucking amazing.
I'm so behind on the Marvel Now stuff. I haven't read most of this, but I've read some.
Yeah, I'm like a month or so behind. I need to go pick up my box. But like Young Avengers is amazing, but like so I don't know what the fandom is like. I don't know if there's like a lot of fan works happening with it. There's a ton of like great cosplay and fan art, but I haven't read a lot of fic, so I'm not really sure what's going down with that. If you guys have read any fic, maybe our audience members are reading fic about Young Avengers. Maybe Young Avengers is so perfect that fic is superfluous. And it's been great because Kate Bishop is also like living in Hawkeye right now, which is cool, and I really like their relationship.
Love
hanging
Hawkeye.
Out there.
The one comic I read, Hawkeye. I love that. Like, just it's so good. Everything about it, like every aspect of that book, is amazing.
Yeah, Hawkeye is amazing. And Frackton is writing some good stuff, but I really like Avengers Assemble, and I feel like if you're listening and you're not really into the comic side of fandom, but you like Avengers Assemble is like a great book to pick up because it's really just about the Avengers hanging out and being dicks to each other.
Oh, so it's literally just like one of those fanfics where they sit around making Pop-Tarts all day. That's the actual book.
That's yeah, basically
and making stupid bets.
Like Wolverine is like, you fucked up this popcorn, like, and it's very like, it's really kind of a little meta. So when they, the first plot line I picked up was like Avengers Assemble 9, I think, with Kelly Sue DeConnick, who is one of my
where I started as well.
Favorite authors in comics today. She's amazing, and like her stuff is just really, it's funny, it's light, it's like, you know, it's kind of the tone that you think about when you think about comics, superhero comics. It's not super dark and gritty or like ultra violent. It's like funny, and these dudes are superheroes and they're hanging out in a house, and Captain America and Captain Marvel are making kale smoothies for breakfast, and when they try to talk Peter Parker into going on some mission, he's like, y'all, I'm on so many teams right now. I don't have time for this. And it's true. He's on like every team. He's like the next Wolverine. So I want to throw a rec out for that because it's great, and it has Jessica Drew and Captain Marvel, two of the best Avengers ladies, hanging out and harassing Bruce Banner.
Spider-Woman.
Oh, right, okay.
The other good thing about Avengers Assemble is that I think it's really accessible if you haven't gotten into the comics. It's an easy one to start in that kind of lets you get to know the characters and the team without having read, you know, like a zillion years of backstory. And
yeah, you don't need a lot of the backstory to kind of get into them.
And it's kind of amorphously between the universe of the comics and the universe of the movies. It pulls elements from both, but it's not really in either. So
is that one of those ones where they draw Tony Stark to look like Robert Downey Jr.? Because I love that comics do that now.
Not super. I mean, he looks probably more like Robert Downey Jr. now that I think about Robert Downey Jr. as being Tony Stark. But it's not like...
I would just be so happy if like a comic drew Tony Stark as just being 5'7". That would make me read a comic. I wouldn't really care if it was bad, as long as they just made sure that Tony Stark was really short. It's like, I'm obsessed with the fact that they keep pretending he's tall in the movies. And it's like, stop trying to make it happen.
Do you think it's like Robert Downey Jr. that insists on being tall, or do you think it's...
You see, I think it partly is, because for all of his public appearances, he always wears high heels, like, every single time.
Yeah, he definitely wears lifts, for sure.
Yeah, because it's like he always wears these shirts that have, like, a stripe around the bottom, pretending to be the sole, and then he's got this weird hoof suit that's clearly, like, a 3 or 4 inch disguised heel. And also, I saw this interview with Gwyneth Paltrow, where she was all... the question was like, oh, how did you get on set with Robert Downey Jr.? Kind of like boring, generic first question. She was like, oh yeah, we get on great. But then he gets really annoyed when I'm taller than him, and I'm just like, this rings very true to me. I think it could easily be accurate. I can imagine that. Like, just she's not allowed to wear high heels when they're hanging out.
I don't know if it's just Robert Downey Jr. though, because I feel like the films also because lots of the actors in Avengers are like shortish to average height, and the movie was definitely trying to pretend they were taller.
Well, I think with Clint Barton, they didn't really try hard. With Bruce, they didn't really care. Like, they weren't standing Bruce on a box for anything. But there's scenes where they definitely have Robert Downey Jr. in a box, because, like,
Oh yeah, he is definitely not as tall as Chris Evans.
With Chris Evans, and I'm just like, no, what just happened? Like, just no.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, it's okay in Iron Man because him and were the same height.
I feel like he could be short in the comics. I don't know. Like, I feel like there's just not a lot of consistency as far as that goes, so it'd be hard to tell.
Yeah.
But he's definitely not Robert Downey Jr. in the same way that Ultimate Nick Fury is Samuel L. Jackson. That's not the case.
Yeah.
And now 616 Nick Fury is also Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson is slowly becoming everyone in Marvel. You give it time.
It's like I don't know, I can't remember what it was, but it was like I read the prequel comic with like Nick Fury and Coulson, and it's like they explained why Nick Fury is now black, and it's like he's actually the son of previous Nick Fury.
Yes. Yes.
Like genetically.
Yes.
But his mom's black, and now he's Samuel Jackson, and that's the canonical reason, and they've explained it in a way.
So, like, his mom, I guess, was a lady Samuel L. Jackson for that familial resemblance.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I think they're just
they don't need to explain it, but it was like, just make it Samuel L. Jackson. Like, why not?
They should. I guess he could have been actual Samuel L. Jackson, has been pulled in by S.H.I.E.L.D. as Nick Fury now, because, like, it's like a position now, the position of Nick Fury. I would read that.
Like it's a title that gets passed down, like James Bond.
Right.
Also, like anyone who likes like Nick Fury and Natasha, like it's a kind of duo. If either of you guys seen The Spirit?
No.
Wait, like the movie?
Like the Spirit, based on the comic The Spirit.
No, I've only read The Spirit.
Okay, because like you know how in The Spirit, like the
She said hipsterly.
villain. Yeah, no, yeah, it's like in the comic of The Spirit, like the villain is the Oxford. I think you only ever see him like his gloved hands or something.
Yeah.
Like he's like this really mysterious figure. And when Samuel L. Jackson was hired to play him in the movie, which by the way is like Sin City if it was less misogynist and way crazier. It's like basically Samuel L. Jackson was like, okay, I'll do this as long as I get to pick all of my costumes. So him and his evil sidekick, who is Scarlett Johansson, who is becoming a minion in order to fund her PhD. No joke.
Yeah.
That's
a pretty good plotline.
So it's like he's she's great. But like so it's like he'll be dressed as like a samurai, and then she'll be dressed as like a girl samurai, and then he's dressed as a Nazi, and she's like a sexy Nazi, and then they'll have like matching outfits for all the different scenes that make like no narrative sense whatsoever.
I love Samuel L. Jackson, and what a giant
lightsaber.
Like he's just such a fucking dweeb. I love it. Like his fucking Mace Windu lightsaber has like Banff on it. I don't even know. He's amazing. I love it. I love it when like genre actors are giant nerds themselves. Like,
I think that's a big part of Clark Gregg's charm.
Yeah.
He's clearly such a dork about this stuff, and so excited that there are action figures of him. Like his life is made now.
Oh, I love how excited Mark Ruffalo was when they told him about Science Bros.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that interview and I was just like, kill me. But then again, everything Mark Ruffalo does has like kind of like this aura of adorability to it, I think.
He's so like cheek pinchable. But I do love he was like, oh, I'm gonna have to tell Robert about this, and it's like, you know, he's already like has all his Google alerts set up for like Science Bros. Come on.
It's like what does Robert Downey Jr. do with his life except like roll around in a giant pile of money and Google himself all day?
Well, there is like a long-standing rumor that he is actually a poster on like several celebrity gossip forums.
No, that's like, but to be fair, that happens for like every single celebrity ever. It's like, oh my god, you know, there's a Lord of the Rings actor writing Lord of the Rings fan tickets. Like, I'm so sure.
No, like he's like a dude that posts like pretty regularly.
Like blind items.
Yeah, he responds to blind items and stuff, and there's like this I don't have the patience to dig it up, but there's definitely an ONTD post that like chronicles all of this and like all the reasons why this dude is Robert Downey Jr. because he has hinted at being Robert Downey Jr. And I don't care if it's real or not. I want to believe that Robert Downey Jr. spends his like downtime posting about other celebrities on gossip forums.
Not only is he one of the most believable people for that to be, I also I want that to be true as well. And if I was really famous, I would 100% be doing that as well. Like absolutely.
Right. So, and it's just like, yeah, that seems about right. And now that he is actually Tony Stark, I'm like, Tony Stark definitely does that, so.
Getting back to Science Bros.
Science Bros.
I think that phenomenon is an interesting result of the movie because originally Avengers fandom was pretty much like Steve and Tony, always and forever. No one else can ever interrupt their love. And now there's this whole segment of fandom that's really focused on Tony and Bruce, either romantically or just as BFFs forever, but in a way that's almost as important as...
Which is another reason that you should check out Avengers Assemble, because they just did a trade paperback collection of it that's called Science Bros.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have to read that.
It's called Science Bros. That's the collection of the first Kelly Sue DeConnick story.
Yeah.
Okay, but I am definitely getting that. Like, so yeah, as soon as we go off air, Comicsology, here I come.
I thought I was gonna feel more like weird about the creators, because I follow a ton of like Marvel creators on social media, like interacting, but they love fandom. And it's really cool, actually, to see them, like, that kind of thing, not like, it's not like
well, they are a fandom. It's like everyone who writes comics is fandom, and it's like once you've got to know,
right, exactly.
It's like most of them are also internet fandom at the same time, unlike Doctor Who writers who are fandom, but like, not really what we think of as internet fandom. Yeah, it's like, it's weird, because like all the Doctor Who writers are like people who were on like message boards like 20 years ago, but they were all like message boards where they were the kind of people you just want to avoid because they're all sociopaths. So...
Well, none of us have Steve Moffat feelings at all here, so...
Yeah, no, let's not get started into Stephen Moffat, right. Like, you don't want that to engulf another episode.
But I've been really enjoying, like, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Matt Fraction, Kieran Gillian, and Jamie McKelvey from Young Avengers. Like, the four of them all interact a lot online, and sometimes interact with, like, Warren Ellis and other dudes. It's been pretty great because they're all about like fan art, cosplay. They love that shit, and I think it's been really good for comics, and especially like Avengers characters that don't have movies, like Fracton's Hawkeye and DeConnick's Captain Marvel. Like, they're doing a great job of interacting with the fan base, and the fan base like is doing a great job of actually maybe buying comics, which is good.
Mm-hmm. I really want them to put Captain Marvel in the next movie. That is all I want.
That would be amazing.
Captain Marvel is my favorite.
I would love that too. It's like, I've never even read a Captain Marvel comic. I've only ever seen like clips on Tumblr and like pictures of her looking really powerful and amazing in her like outfit, and I'm already just like, she's my fave. For like barely
Captain Marvel is the best, and I love how she's BFFs with Steve.
Oh my god,
I think I've seen bits on kind of Tumblr where they were just like hanging around, chillaxing, being like army bros together or something, and I was just like, wow, I really know nothing about her. Because
there's a running gag where Carol will rub it in Steve's face that she outranks him, even though their superhero names are both Captain. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, she is like, her Air Force background is pretty great. I don't know, man. They're great. Avengers comics. Yeah, I've been reading the New Avengers also, which is like the whole host of characters that like are not movie Avengers. It's like Luke Cage, and which everyone is really hoping shows up on S.H.I.E.L.D., I think. I really want J. August Richards to be Luke Cage.
That would make me happy.
If J. August Richards, because he is in the S.H.I.E.L.D. trailer.
And he's clearly meant to be superpowered.
Yeah, doing some Power Man shit. And he can't be a mutant, and Luke Cage is not a mutant. So, which is important, as we talked about earlier. But there's like some like scuttlebutt that he's like a brand new character, which would be dumb.
There's so many characters in the Marvel U to choose from, even if he's not Luke Cage. There's so many canon characters, even if they just existed for a little while. Right. And I feel like making new superheroes would be kind of ridiculous when it's easy to find obscure ones.
Exactly. Like, there's so many people...
They'll feel new to most fans, but some fans will be like, oh, I remember him. I see what you did there.
Yeah, oh, Luke Cage, but this one isn't a grotesque racial stereotype. Awesome. Like old Luke Cage. Current Luke Cage is amazing. And his super family with Jessica Jones and their baby, who will never grow up, I guess. I wonder how long their baby will be an infant, actually. I really liked Captain Marvel showing up in.
And they got one of these immortal kids, kind of, yeah. That's one of the problems they're going to have with X-Men as well. It's like, what do you even do with everyone's generation? Like, just no.
Yeah, like, they all kind of age, but they all sort of keep their generation. Like, Jubilee is eternally young, and now, actually, canonically, will be eternally young, because she's a vampire.
Like, Professor X is always old, yeah. Professor X is, like, in the 1960s, he was old. And then now
he was just
old,
bald.
In like,
let's be real.
Now he's
like
young.
Kind of an
no, but he was
age.
Yeah, but like I mean, it's like yeah, but it's like he was professorial. He was meant to be kind of the mentor, so he was at least like middle-aged or older.
Yeah, the ages
and then
of the
like,
X-Men.
He was supposed to be like more or less the same age as like Magneto.
I think Kitty Pryde's the only one that's really been allowed to grow up and come into her own. Because she took over.
Well, and they're starting to kind of do that with Armor.
Armor, yeah, I think. But I feel bad for Jubilee, because she... I don't know. After she became a vampire, it was like...
Well, they might be able to do something interesting with that. I mean, not change her art and have her keep this youthful appearance, but have the character still emotionally aged.
Yeah, they are. This is my big thing with Wolverine being an Avenger, because Wolverine will always be an X-Men because he just picks up lost ducklings all the time. He has to be an X-Men for that, man.
Yep.
The Avengers are not picking up strays.
I kind of wish they were, though.
I guess the Avengers is probably, like, the least, like, kid-occupied team, because the Fantastic Four have their kids.
Oh, did you see the Fantastic Four? They're making a Fantastic Four remake.
Yeah.
A reboot.
Yeah, I hope that dude from Chronicle gets to be...
Yeah, I think they pretty much said that he's being cast as the Human Torch.
No, I don't think that it's been, like, straight up acknowledged.
Are they keeping the rest of the casting, do you know? I've heard
I think they're dumping.
No, I'm sure they'd recast. Like, why would they recast the old cast? Like, why?
And they can't, because, like, yeah, Human Torch has to go, and if they cast a black dude, that means Jessica Alba is out. So, because then Sue Storm has to be black. Well, I guess she doesn't have to be.
I just don't want them to recast the Thing.
He could probably stay, to be honest.
Wait, who was the Thing?
Michael Chiklis? Am I saying that right?
What? Seriously? I did not realize that. Wow. No, yeah, keep him.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, though, because I don't know.
I didn't really like the Fantastic Four movie. Like, I'd like it if they make it where, like, Reed Richards is, like, a full-on super asshole. Then I think I'd be more into it then.
That's my concern about Ant-Man, because who the fuck likes Ant-Man?
Ant-Man is the worst.
Bringing it back to Avengers, y'all.
I'm so bitter that there's an Ant-Man movie and not a Black Widow movie. Like, that is, I mean, obviously I know that, like, Edgar Wright, he is going to make his good movie. It's Edgar Wright.
I don't give a shit. Why isn't
there
he
should
doing
be a Black Widow
Panther
movie? Definitely. There should also be a Bruce Banner.
Y'all, there should be a Black Panther movie before a fucking Ant-Man
that's the other
movie.
thing I need.
Like, and it made me so mad when they had those Marvel Studio quotes where it was like, well, it's hard to make Wakanda, and it's like, fuck you, you're making a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. One of those
you mean Asgard?
You made Asgard,
why can't you make,
like
I don't know.
Make Wakanda?
Oh,
you know, because it's literally
like,
just like a place. It's just a country. Like, you can just... Like,
it's a sweet-ass city, actually. It's like a really cool African metropolis.
Anywhere. You can just film it somewhere. Make it God. It's just like, no.
Yeah, but, you know, like, a science city in Africa? Come on, Gav.
Everyone needs to just watch Charlie Jade, which is set in, like, alternate universe Cape Town.
I didn't hate the, Black Panther animated, like, pseudo-animated series from BET, but I think I'm the only one that didn't.
I keep seeing gifs from it on Tumblr that make it look really funny, but then it's like maybe it's just a gif.
It's actually kind of funny. I watched it while I was doing.
I'm not really into cartoons very much, so.
The voice acting is pretty good. They have cool people on it, but yeah, I
haven't watched the Black Panther cartoon, but I watched Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and Black Panther was great in that.
Yeah, he was amazing.
He was the only one who was able to act like a functional adult, while the rest of the cartoon Avengers just bickered over their interpersonal problems instead of fighting evil.
Which is pretty much, like, canonical for everything. Black Panther is, like, the only dude who ever has his shit together. And I'm still upset about him and Storm splitting up, even though that was kind of a cash grab wedding. I don't care. They were in love. Which I guess would be intriguing if they pull Black Panther into the Marvel universe. I guess they will just ignore
they
that.
They put him in X-Men.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to put him in
Wait,
X-Men.
is Halle Berry coming back for the new X-Men movie?
Sadly, yes.
But I think she's, like, actually trying to do stuff now.
I don't know, I didn't like Halle Berry in the first one.
Oh, I think First Class...
is so, like...
Because, like, I know a lot of people really, really dislike Halle Berry Storm, and, like, I'm not... Like, obviously she's not, like, really, really scary, like I think she should be, but, like, I thought she was pretty good.
Well, okay.
I mean, she didn't get given much to do, to be honest.
Right. One, the character was not written that great, but I think with like, coming off of First Class, which was much more a character vehicle than the first couple X-Men were, you know? Like, I think they might be giving her more to do, and she plays a pretty big role in Days of Future Past. There's sort of, like, a lot of, like, I'm just gonna go, like colorism happening with casting Halle Berry as Storm, because Storm is, she is basically considered like an African goddess in her origin story once she comes into her powers. I think she is, so I don't fuck it up, because she is not from a magical land, Wakanda, that white people can't find. Well, no one can find. Wakanda does not actually exist. On maps.
Wait, so is Wakanda like Narnia? Like,
yeah, Wakanda.
I don't know anything about Wakanda.
Yeah, Wakanda is like a country that no one can find, and it's also where vibranium comes from. So it's actually.
Oh yeah, I think I knew that one. Yeah.
It is canonical in the Avengers universe because it's on a map and they talk about it in Captain America. Yeah. Okay.
Even if you can find Wakanda, it's really heavily defended.
Right.
So good luck getting in alive.
So Wakandas are like really great fighters, but they're really great at politicking and technology shit, so they don't really fuck around with other people's problems.
They sound like Kryptonians.
Yeah. So Halle Berry is not quite like, she doesn't have the look of Storm, and Storm is from Kenya. So like, you know, there's just like a lot of, like, I don't know, like how many Kenyan type actresses could have played the role of Storm versus Halle Berry, who is mixed. So there's that sort of political issues there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, I don't think Halle Berry was a terrible Storm. I don't think she was an amazing Storm.
That's kind of my issue, I guess, is that Storm should be amazing.
Right. Storm is like such a transcendent character and is really one of the closest.
She uses her powers for a while and like challenges Cyclops to a fight for leadership of the X-Men team, and with no powers, she kicks his ass.
Yeah. Storm is like.
How does she do that? What does she do?
She's just Storm, man.
She's just too awesome.
And she defeats the leaders of the Warlocks. She's like, she has to have a more commanding presence, and she's very regal in the sense like her mother is some kind of like African princess, I think. But like she has a really much stronger presence than Halle Berry plays her with, and I think part of that, like, go ahead.
Yeah, and Storm should be tough too. I mean, like, she grew up like, despite her ancestry and later being considered like a goddess, she grew up like thieving on the streets to survive.
Right, she was like an orphan in Egypt. But she's like this really awesome, like, badass. And then you think of like Mohawk Storm, where she's really fucking cool.
Yeah, I just feel like Halle Berry's Storm is kind of flat, I guess. There's not a lot of depth to her, or even like the feeling that somewhere there is, you know, like not even a suggestion of it in the acting.
Because Storm is a pretty like Zen type character a lot of the times too. She's like very, very regal, but like pretty Zen, chill, unless she needs to be really intense. So you have that feeling that there's something hiding, like she could unleash it at any moment. And you don't get that from Halle Berry's Storm. Halle Berry's Storm just kind of is there, and I do lay that partly on the writers, because I don't think Halle Berry is a bad actress. But one, it would have been nice to see...
I don't think Halle Berry is a bad actress, but I think she wasn't really trying. But the writing is also a problem, you're right.
Yeah, like, I mean, it would have been nice to see, like, an African actress take on the role. I'm going to go ahead and say that. Like, I think there aren't a lot of, like, major roles for women who are especially, like, more dark-skinned.
Yeah, I was going to say, even if not actually, like, from Africa, someone darker had the role. Because, I mean, in the comics, Storm is always drawn.
Yeah, she's never drawn with Halle Berry's skin tone at all.
Right. I mean, she has the pale hair and eyes, which are kind of ambiguous, but, like, in terms of her skin tone, she's always drawn as very clearly, like, no, she's black.
Yeah, so, I mean, so that would be nice. So, I mean, Storm. I think there's a lot of reasons why people dislike Halle Berry's Storm, but I think part of it is just Storm is a great character to love. Like, she's pretty much the closest thing I think Marvel has to a Wonder Woman analog, unless Captain Marvel really picks up in terms of visibility. Which is kind of cool when you think about it.
Which it makes you, actually, because it's like, I've seen so much, like, people just, like, loving Captain Marvel, and, like, people wearing Captain Marvel t-shirts and stuff.
Well,
like, for Storm is, like, I'm less aware of.
Well, Marvel did a really, really fucking good job actually, like, trying to promote a new comic book, like, a character that has been around for a long time, but finally is getting, like, another solo book. Like, they pulled her in through the Spider-Man title before she launched, and she's, like, had some major roles in some other Avengers thing, and, like, and then there was a big grassroots push, too, to get people to start subscribing. People who might not have been interested in floppies before, starting to buy them. So I think it would be great.
There's been some merchandising for Captain Marvel, which never really existed before, but like there have been like runs of T-shirts with the comics art and stuff.
Yeah, they started working with We Love Fine, so they've got that. And like, because they're, I guess like the comic side of Marvel is not super draconian, they've been all about like fan jewelry and fan hats and like fan-made stuff, and they're really down with that. I think if Captain Marvel got into the movie, she would become Marvel's Wonder Woman, which
I agree.
Makes a lot of sense.
And also it'd be great for my desire to just cast Katie Sackhoff as literally everyone. Because it'd be like, yeah, Katie Sackhoff is Marvel, and like completely wonderful.
Oh my god, that would be really good. I would be down with that. That would be a good cast.
Yeah, it's like in one movie you can have her like leading the cast as Captain Marvel, and the other movie you have her leading the cast as Captain James T. Kirk.
I would love to see her and Chris Evans like on screen together. That would be like a really... I would really like to see that, because Steve is like a little more laid back.
Also, I would like there to be more of the female characters from the Marvel U in Avengers in general. Which is kind of hard to do because a lot of the female team members are mutants. I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many great women.
It was so grim when I was like, like when I was kind of reading up on like all the kind of like the tribulations they had to go to even get like one woman in the Avengers movie. It was just like beyond grim. How, like,
wait, really?
You guys read the thing where like, Joss Whedon basically had to like, yeah, well, in the original script of the Avengers movie, like in the original idea, there were going to be no women. There was going to be, I think it was Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, and I think the Hulk.
Well, like, I wouldn't have watched that movie.
No, exactly. But they were like, but then Joss Whedon was like, okay, no, I'm going to write one with, it was either Scarlet Witch or Wasp as the women. And he was like, we need a woman in here. And the argument he used to persuade the producers is literally, he played to their sense of like internalized homophobia. What he actually said, and he said in interviews, he was like, look guys, this cast right now looks like a gay cruise. We can't make this movie without a woman in it. And they were like, oh. And that's why they brought in, like, Natasha, because, like, people know her from the other movies, and it's Scarlett Johansson.
But once they brought in Natasha, they did a really good job with it. I mean, not only did they bring her in, but she basically, like, gets the team together and saves the entire world. Like,
right, yeah, she's, like, the protagonist.
If Natasha hadn't been there.
But it was like, just that, like, how difficult it was to get a woman in the movie in the first place. I was just, like, I was gobsmacked, because it's, like, it's one of these things where you just, like, you just feel kind of the disconnect between, like, the audience and the people who are making the film, kind of like with the new Star Trek movie, where it's like, you do realize that like pretty much 50% of the audience of this film is women. Like, it's literally like 50-50.
Yeah, that's so crazy to me because like archetypal team always has like the girl, you know?
I
There's
know,
always the chick, so it would seem natural.
And it was like, and also like Pepper Potts' role in it is because Robert Downey Jr. asked for her to be in it. So like I'm assuming there was going to be a woman in the movie.
Right, he was like, you can't pretend that fighting with Pepper and
Rhodey aren't friends with me.
But
so he wanted them both, but they only gave him one.
Yeah,
so
but
he
like, I don't even
Pepper.
know like who was going to be in the movie. Like I don't even know who because like presumably they would have had to have had a woman in there somewhere, but they didn't particularly plan on having Pepper Potts, not because they didn't like her, because they thought it was too minor a role, and they didn't want a woman on the team because they were like, we don't have an established female superhero, and it just blows my mind. And like Josh has spoken about that in a bunch of interviews.
I wonder why we don't have an established female superhero.
I know, right? It's like,
I would love to see Monica Rambeau in an Avengers movie. She was the original. She was the original woman who had the mantle of Captain Marvel. Obviously, not the original Captain Marvel, who was a dude, but she's she's now Pulsar or Photon. She led the Avengers for a little while. She's from New Orleans. She's black. She likes punching the shit out of things. She's a cool character, and she got to do a little arc with Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, in the comics right now. So apparently she was supposed to look like Pam Grier, as I'm reading through her Wikipedia page to make sure that I don't fuck everything up. I'm confused as to also the Guardians of the Galaxy casting. There should be more ladies.
One thing
the whole Guardians of the Galaxy thing just like blows my mind as well, because it's like I like maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like this isn't something that most people are gonna know what it is until they've like marketed it to everyone. So it's like they'd rather make a movie where one of the main characters is a sentient tree than make a movie about a woman. Like
the sentient
or
tree
a black
is the least of it. I can suspend my disbelief for a comics movie for
if it's gonna be the same universe as like all the Avengers, you're gonna have a universe that has Tony Stark in it, playing with his smartphone, like hanging around while Pepper gets like a pedicure, eating like gluten-free waffles together, and then in the same universe you've got like a talking skunk or a raccoon, a talking raccoon.
It's the raccoon that I have trouble with.
Well, that's not that weird because that is what Marvel Universe is, and they actually have been Wolverining Iron Man into like every team right now. So right now he's on the current Guardians of the Galaxy run, which everybody was pretty pissed about because it made no goddamn sense. It was sort of like, but I don't think Star-Lord.
But it's like,
really...
but it's like stuff that you can believe is true in a comic is not the same as what you can believe is true in a movie where you have Robert Downey Jr., a human person, speaking to CGI Rocky Raccoon.
It will be pretty
weird.
I'm
not saying it'll happen, but like
to see him talking if they ever interact. I'm just annoyed that Moondragon isn't in it because she's like a pretty badass character who's a little less like, because I think Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be their like sort of less like spangly superhero type thing, so I think Moondragon...
I mean, I saw some really cool concept art that made it look kind of like the Cantina in Star Wars, and I was like, I'm into this. And then as soon as I saw Rocky Raccoon, I instantly became less interested again.
I love that his name is
my fault for having...
just like straight up Rocky Raccoon, like, yep.
One thing I'm hoping happens is if I'm kind of annoyed that they're making an Ant-Man movie of all things, because why? Lamest superhero power in the Marvel U, even aside from the fact that Hank Pym himself is just obnoxious and I hate him. But I'm really hoping it means we'll get Wasp.
I'm hoping we get Ultimate's Wasp too because she's Asian, so it'd be nice to have a little more diversity, but I don't think that's actually going to happen.
I'm only really interested at all because Edgar Wright's making it. If Edgar Wright wasn't making the movie, I would have like 0% interest really. But
I think you would like Wasp as a character. She's the
I know Wasp. I mean like Ant-Man.
Oh, okay.
In general. Like I've like read some comics which had Ant-Man and Wasp in them, and I've read a bunch of fanfic that has Wasp in because people like to just throw Wasp in there because she's cool, and also it gives an explanation to why everyone has their dumb costumes.
Right, I love Wasp.
Have an Edna Mode.
Because she loves doing the costume design, and I like her because she's like, you know, she's like a badass Avenger fighter, but she's like girly and stuff. Also a scientist. You know, she gets to be a lot of things, and she's just so mistreated in canon. Mostly by Hank Pym. Which is like, are they even going to utilize that? And like, I don't really want to watch an Edgar Wright superhero story where there's like spousal abuse. That doesn't sound, but that's in both iterations now.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if they'll be able to get away from it.
Right. And I hear that they're focusing more on who's the Scott Lang Ant-Man?
Oh, Scott Lang is not as bad.
No, but he's still kind of a block. Like, I only am interested in Scott Lang in the sense that he is Stature's dad.
Yeah, Stature's amazing.
From Young Avengers, so it's sort of like you're kind of like a non-character to me. And your predecessor is like an asshole, and I don't really want to watch a movie about him unless they're gonna be like, this dude is an asshole and no one likes him, which I don't see.
I don't know if that's gonna work as a superhero movie. Just have a character that's just genuinely unappealing. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, Fantastic Four could be that movie.
That's actually kind of weird though, because it's like I would be really into the idea of Reed Richards being like a really unappealing character. Like if they go straight up with that in the movie, but then at the same time, then it would be like all the way through. Either Sue Storm would also have to be really unappealing, or it would just be like all the way through. You'd be like, why Sue? Why are you going crazy?
Well, then they could have her have an assignation with Namor, and then we could get Namor. No, we can't, because Namor's a mutant. Shit.
Can't they just make him like a
that's not revealed at first, so maybe we could just push that off.
But Namor is the first mutant. He's like the very first mutant, so that would be really difficult to pull him into. Damn it.
It's not that hard to not talk about him being a mutant, though, because you're already supposing he's part of this, like, undersea Atlantis race.
Yeah, he's Water Thor. He's like Michael Phelps Thor.
Namor is my favorite asshole of the Marvel Universe. He's just the best dick. I mean,
guys. Not to kind of cough, but like we're kind of coming towards the end of the hour. We have a question here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is from Tumblr user Shaldwin, and it's about Thor and Loki, and it's saying journey into mystery with Kid Loki has been absorbed into YA fandom. So I guess that's Young Avengers. And, so I was like young adult, and one of the great things is how our experience with the writer Kieran Gillen has made us expect things to be painful. It's kind of like red wedding for anyone who's read Game of Thrones, is watching Game of Thrones season 3 right now. So seeing Billy Teddy shippers freak out is giving us life. And also, is anyone reading Thor: God of Thunder, because that shit is swaggity swag. They actually typed that.
Thor: God of Thunder is fucking gorgeous. I'm waiting for trades, but it's like.
Well, it says here the art's really good. She's saying like the art's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it has 3 Thors: Thor of the past, who hangs out war with Vikings and can't wield Mjolnir; Avengers Thor of the present, and King Thor of the future in all his beardy glory. The last guardian at the end of time, all united to fight the God Butcher. And just from this description, I'm already into it, because I just finished reading this really big book of like Norse myths, and now I'm like all Thor all the time, so I want this. That sounds awesome.
I'm waiting for the trades, because right now I'm reading Journey into Mystery with Sif as like this hyper berserker goddess of war, which is awesome. God.
Seriously, there's like a comic that's all about Sif killing people. I need that in my life.
Yeah, it's the current arc of Journey into Mystery. They did like Thor and Kid Loki, and now it's Sif. Yeah, that's a little spoilery for the Young Avengers question, but I do love that he's being brought into the he's a character in Young Avengers now, and that they've been keeping that tone of sort of like alternating between levity and like gut punch feelings for him, which is really good, and everyone is kind of freaking out about it. It's funny that the Game of Thrones reference, because I love this scene in Young Avengers where they're all...
spoilers, because I don't know what happens in Game of Thrones.
It's not a spoiler for Game of Thrones, or really anything but a joke for Young Avengers. So like they're sitting they're like in a bar, and it's like Kid Loki, Miss America, Wiccan and Hulkling, and they're like, you are Loki, so why the hell should we be trusting you? Because obviously they're like baby superhumans, so they know that Loki is not a character for good. And he's like, well, do you guys read Game of Thrones? And of course Wiccan and Hulkling are like, yeah. And he's like, well, who's your favorite character? And they're like, oh, well, Tyrion. And he's like, I'm Tyrion. And it's amazing. Everything about it is amazing. Everything about Young Avengers is amazing to me. So I like it because it does pop culture references, but not in like that weird '90s way that comics sometimes tried to do.
Are you guys excited for the new Phase 3 stuff that's coming soon?
What's coming up?
Well, we've just had Iron Man 3, and then we're getting Thor 2 and Captain America Winter Soldier.
I'm the only person in the world who didn't like the Captain America movie, apparently, according to fandom. So
really, what didn't you like about it?
I really, really didn't like the way that they set up Hydra. I actually found it I found it really problematic because they sort of, like, it makes sense for them to be integrated with, like, the Nazis, and that makes sense because Steve is always fighting Nazis, and that's all Captain America myth. Like, I loved, all the acting was fine, the characterization was fine, but it was just sort of like, Hydra doesn't need to be, like, some super eviler Nazis, while the actual Nazis still exist, and we are still fighting actual Nazis. Like, they didn't need to be like, well, we're like even eviler than you, peace out Nazis, and then become like their own, like, worse than Nazis army. I am explaining this really poorly, but it just
I think I get what you're saying.
It just felt like not useful and sort of offensively cheap storytelling, where really, like, the Nazis probably should be it for, like, things that are evil that Captain America are like, Hydra being integrated into Nazis makes sense and is canonical, but for them to be simultaneously fighting Nazis and Hydra makes less sense. I think is cheap writing, and, like, I think it's important to not diminish, and the comics, like, in comics where it's like Nazis are always like the evilest, so they should kind of keep that tier.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
When you're working with that, like, kind of magical integration into historical things like that, like, you don't need to go above Hitler, right? Hitler's kind of your top tier for, like, historical villains. So it doesn't make any sense to have another villain simultaneously trying to do similar things as Hitler, but is also, like, a metahuman and eviler, and so Captain America has to abandon fighting Hitler to go fight this other dude. I just didn't like it. That's my Captain America.
Winter Soldier, though.
I'm intrigued to see how they're going to do it, because the director has only really done comedy stuff. Like, he's directed a bunch of episodes of both Community and Arrested Development.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting juxtaposition. I mean, the Winter Soldier arc is pretty dark, really. Yeah,
it's super dark. I am excited because I went to
I had no idea the director was like a...
What? Can you repeat that? Gab, you cut out a little. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
No, I was taking the high from it.
Okay. Oh, are you? Oh, sorry.
Hello?
Hey, you're back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, yeah, I was kicked out of the Hangout, and then
Oh, sorry. Well,
I can't even remember anymore. It doesn't matter.
What were you saying about Winter Soldier, though? Well,
I was just saying I didn't realize that the director was a comedy guy, and also, like, didn't Hugo Weaving say he just doesn't want to come back as Red Skull because the character was shit?
No, they're not inviting Hugo Weaving back because he talked shit about the character. He was under contract, so he would have had to buy him out to, like...
Oh, yeah, he didn't, yeah.
So instead he just shit-talked the movie, and so people were like... And Marvel was like, well, get the hell out.
Because, like, I really enjoy the first 2/3 of Captain America, and then once it gets to the last third, I'm just like, please stop. Like, it just don't... I'm not into it. Like, I'm not invested in the Red Skull as a villain.
Oh, I guess you missed my entire rant about how I find that sort of offensive. That's what you missed.
I think I heard the end of it, but then I couldn't work out whether you were talking about Red Skull or not, because I got kicked out of the chat. And then
yes, that is what I was talking about. How
right, okay, in that case, we agree. I think.
Yeah, it was sort of like, well, I mean, I'm really more invested in you guys defeating Nazis, to be honest. So, like, it made sense at the beginning when they were like a Nazi organization, but then it was sort of like, well. Yeah. Now what the hell
but also it's like, I don't know, like, it's kind of a question, because it's like, could they have kept the movie up if they had literally just made it a Nazi killing movie? But then at the same time, like, the Red Skull is just so not good at all. Like, it's because, like, right. I think Captain America is like one of the best origin story movies like we've got. I think. Like, the Captain America movie is just so good. Like,
really, I didn't feel that way at all about it, but that's just me.
No, well, I really enjoyed it. I loved it. But then as soon as you get to like the part where it's like the Red Skull comes in, it's like the final battle. Like, usually final battles, I'm really not that interested in once I've seen them once, but this time it's like doubly so. I can't even watch the end. I'm just like, ugh.
Well, I really would have liked. I really would like a Howling Commandos movie, to be honest. Those are the characters I cared about the most.
Did you hear that Peggy is getting her own short movie?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, the Howling Commandos I love a lot, and I think it's important.
Yeah, they could have just made like a Howling Commandos like buddy movie. It would have been like Inglourious Basterds, but with like for PG rating.
Right. It would have been great.
The background of the Howling Commandos is like the one reason I kind of do want Wolverine crossed over into the Avengers side, because I love that he's like Steve's last remaining link to his history until the Winter Soldier arc happens.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because I always, Wolverine, he was there.
He's everywhere.
Did it happen? Always there.
He's probably one of the Inglourious Basterds as well. Like Wolverine.
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
Well, he's Canadian. I don't know. Wiley. But I like the Howling Commandos, and that was the part of the movie I liked the best.
I'm really excited for more Black Widow in Cap 2.
Yeah, that'll be good. I went to the I went to the a filming set, because they're filming in DC. Please don't stalk me, Phantom Spotting viewers. And I didn't actually get to see anything except for Chris Evans' stunt double ride a motorcycle around. But he was really attractive, so that's cool, I guess. The whole thing was very bizarre, but there are some people who had been to the shooting the day before, and apparently there is going to be, like, Steve trying to figure out, like he has like a Moleskine that he writes in, and it's like stuff that he is going to look up for future reference to figure out what's going on.
Oh my god, they're actually doing that.
Oh my god! That's epic. Like, this is, oh my god. I really hope he refers to like the Google, he asks things on Yahoo Answers, like.
Oh my god, that would be great.
I am so on calling like loads of people's sons, just being like really old. Oh my god, that would be my favorite.
I like it when he's not an idiot, but is still trying to deal with it.
He's smart. That's the thing. Yeah. It's like he's really smart and adaptable, but like in order to like do that, he has to adapt, and he's still at the point where he's just like, how do I work on iPad?
No, I was really good with that tablet.
He can work an iPad, but like it's
I was about to say that's canon.
Stuff. Yeah. He can use an iPad. He can use a tablet. Because that also is kind of.
But he has to use it to look up every reference ever.
Yeah.
Right. Like
it's just like
Star Wars.
Like a really great kind of like if you've ever read kind of Copper Badges, like I think it's like something like a dictionary of the 21st century or something, and it's like basically the whole thing is him like this. Like Steve Rogers talking about how much he loves Wikipedia.
Yeah, I have read that one.
Oh, I should look that up. There's a really good story I will look up the name of where him and Thor like go out and learn about America / New York, and it's amazing.
I think I've read that, and if I haven't, I want to reread it because
that sounds awesome. I need the link for that.
Where is it? Oh,
Thor is interesting because he's so culturally out of place as well.
Yeah.
But he's also got this whole elaborate, much longer history than any of the other characters in current canon. So, like, on the one hand, Thor has this kind of optimistic, curious outlook, but on the other, he's like way older than any of them, and he has all this responsibility and this family drama. I think that character has a really interesting dichotomy. I would like to see that explored further in future films.
Yeah. The figure I was talking about was
another thing I'm hoping for is like with.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind.
Yeah. No. I was just saying like with the kind of Captain America sequel. Like one thing I'm really hoping to go for is like. For the kind of background with Bucky, they show that they were in an orphanage and stuff, because like recently I was talking to one of my friends who like she enjoys the Avengers movie, but like she's not really into comics, and she was unaware that Steve Rogers' background is, and he comes from like a really poor family with depression. Like his mother died of TB. Like I think he had to be the father, because everyone does in comics, but like and it's like in the movie you don't really get that, and like because I was watching the movie with like that background knowledge in my head because of like fanfic or whatever, I was like, oh yeah, this is really good. But like to my friend, she was like, yeah, she was like, of the whole of the Avengers, like they all are quite like middle class. And I was like, well, Clint is the one who's kind of, you know, he had like a really terrible childhood and like he was like a carny and like he ran away from home at the age of like 8 or something. But
his
like, you didn't really get any of that.
His childhood in the circus wasn't like terrible.
I don't know, but it's like anyway, with Steve especially, I would really like it if they kind of highlight like how he comes from like a really poor background, because like right now we only get to see the part where it's like he's weak, like physically, but then also like he's almost like really quickly he's crowned to be this like amazing like godlike figure, and like he's really successful and like he doesn't really need anything. But I'd like it if he just had scenes like, you know, like when you're reading a fanfic and like Steve is the one who gets really upset when people throw out like leftover food and stuff like that. I'd enjoy that if that was in the movie.
I feel like they definitely dropped the ball in sort of giving him that kind of like class perspective in the first movie. That really wasn't explored at all.
But like I think like there wasn't really room, because like I kind of or no, like in the first movie there was room. Like in the Avengers there wasn't really room.
No, in the Avengers there wasn't, but in the first movie they really don't discuss it at all.
Because I feel like in the next film, I mean, presumably they're gonna have to have flashbacks to when they were kids, because
they are doing
Bucky and Steve. Yeah, but it's like I hope they do like drive home the fact that they both lived in like, you know, a hole.
Or at least reference it, if not full blown.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely room to talk about that in the first movie, I think.
Because otherwise it's just going to be this whole kind of golden god thing, and it's like you need something to balance out the fact that Tony Stark is like, you know, Bill Gates.
Like, that, I think also that would have been helpful perspective in the way that they clash.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it makes sense if you know it when you're watching the Avengers movie, and I mean, their personality...
And it makes so much sense when you're watching it, yeah.
Right. Their personality conflict is fine without that background, but it makes a lot more sense.
Maybe it's just because I already knew the background, but I kind of got that vibe from the confrontation anyway when Steve is saying, I know guys with none of that.
Right. And I think, so the Avengers movie...
For Tony's upper class status is pretty...
The Avengers movie does a better job of setting it up than the whole Captain America movie did. With, like, some dialogue. So, I don't know. I'm excited for Thor 2, but it should be interesting.
Oh my god, me too. Like, just like...
I'm really looking forward to...
As long as they don't have, like, a love triangle with Sif, but, like... Oh my god, I love everything about Thor. Thor is my favorite, like, Avengers movie, for sure.
Thor is 100% my favorite, because Kenneth Branagh is, like, was perfect. A perfect director pick. Because, okay, so my dad got me on the road to comics, and he has like these giant long boxes in our house. So obviously there's a time where I was just reading through them, and he had a lot of Thor, and Thor is like really ridiculous. Like the current Thor comics are a lot more serious and like mythological and shit than like Thor traveling through space with another dude who also has a hammer whose name is Beta Ray Bill, or Thor loses his memories and is a doctor on Earth for a while. And like, because that's his alter ego, which I'm kind of glad they jettisoned, because it was bizarre as
Although there was that
and they have that in the movie where it's like Dr. Donald Thingy, who they had as his like ID name in the movie.
Yeah, I liked the reference to it, but it was sort of like, this doctor, is... Yeah. And they don't really do a lot of that with the comics now so much, obviously, although I think Jane Foster is a doctor now.
I think Jane Foster was originally a doctor, but then
she was a nurse.
Oh yeah.
She was a nurse. She was his nurse. And then she leveled up to doctordom. Not that.
Well, I'm glad.
Not that I'm hating on nurses, because nurses are amazing.
I love you, Jane. I love Darcy.
Darcy is great. They've promised us that there's going to be more Darcy in Thor 2, and there's set pictures of Sif completely kicking ass. So I'm excited.
Yeah, Sif looks great. Yeah, I guess I'm just like, the only concern I have is that it's not Kenneth Branagh directing, and Kenneth Branagh. Like he was just so perfect, because there's like, they even have a different font for all the Asgardians and all the comics. Like Thor always talks like he's in a goofy ass Shakespearean play. Like he has his Asgard font. Like, I mean, he's just like more proper.
Yeah, no, like the these and thous.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So, and it's like, it's really like reading some of like the 70s comics. It's like, it's goofy. It's really enjoyable. The storylines are hilarious. Like, the Rainbow Road is literally just a straight-up rainbow, though, and everything is kind of, like, goofy and theatrical and over the top, and Kenneth Branagh was, like, the perfect person to, like, give it to take it seriously, basically, to give it like the gravity that I think a non-Shakespearean type director wouldn't have been able to bring to it, if that makes sense. Like, you have to take how goofy it is at face value and just roll with it and give it gravitas. And it totally worked. So I'm a little.
But like the thing, like the established characters and cast are already like so good. Yeah. Like I think it can afford to like not have Kenneth Branagh there anymore.
Yeah, I
maybe I'm just overly optimistic.
Well, and they've already established it as a world we
they're giving Frigga like a bigger like role. You know, Seth's getting a bigger role.
That's good. I'm sad that they're the one of the Warriors 3 is being replaced because he's on Once. Yeah. He's charming on Once Upon a Time.
Oh yeah, the one who's playing like kind of the douchey guy.
Yeah, Fandral. Yeah. He's the Lothario.
Yeah, he's a douche. I love how there's this scene where like in the background he like kisses Jane's hand and she's like, "What the fuck?" Just like
no,
in the background
he's kissing Darcy's hand.
Oh,
it's
Darcy's
amazing.
Hand. Darcy's hand. Yeah.
Fandral the dashing. No, come on, get it, man. That was awesome.
It's like Errol. I love how he's like Errol Flynn. Like,
he is legit Errol Flynn, but now he's being played by Chuck from Chuck.
Yeah, no, but it's like either way we can't recognize him because they're wearing all this like fake mustache shit and like spray paint.
Well, he was very charming. I hope Hogan gets more stuff to do, and also Volstagg.
I hope Loki gets a haircut.
Apparently there was like
more. I love Loki's wig. I love all of Loki's wigs.
Apparently Asgard has neither scrunchies nor family counseling.
I hope he has a fucking scrunchie. That would be great. Where like shit gets real and he's like,
and he's
hold on, I gotta pull my hair back. Yeah.
I kind of wonder, like, why doesn't Tom Hiddleston just grow his hair out like that? Because like for Loki and for Only Lovers Left Alive, he's just wearing essentially the same black scraggly like grunge wig.
Maybe he just has one really good wig.
Yeah, he just carries it around with him. He's like, okay, I've got an audition. Time for me to put on my audition wig. And everyone's like, oh my god, you're so goth. Why didn't you play the Crow as well?
Because he's not Asian?
No, I know. Like everyone they put up as casting for the Crow is like a nightmare. Like as soon as they announced like Mark Wahlberg was in the running, I was just like, we need to stop.
Yeah, pretty much everything about that remake.
Everyone they've listed to play the Crow, like every single casting rumor has been like unbelievable. Like Channing Tatum was rumored as being like doing screen tests, and like obviously Tom Hiddleston has also been like screen testing for it like now, but like Channing Tatum was like in the lineup, and it's like in what universe is Channing Tatum, who is a good comedy actor and stuff, like but in what world is him as a human potato and like roid rage man? He is not the Crow. He is not the Crow. There is no way you can make him the Crow. Anyway.
Am I the only one here who's seen Iron Man 3?
Yeah, I've seen it. No spoilers, please.
Okay.
Also, I had people kind of tweeting me being like, I hope there's no spoilers on this one. So,
okay.
Yeah, I saw it, I really enjoyed it. It was awesome.
Well, people watching, if you haven't seen it yet, what are you waiting for? You too, Laurel. Go see it. It's amazing.
I almost went by myself at 11 p.m. last night to prepare for this podcast, but then I just laid around and didn't do anything. So
you should have done it.
That's what I do for y'all, fandom spotting. Nothing. So yeah, so we're over time. I don't know if there's more stuff you want to talk about or not.
Oh, I think we've already been on for like an hour and 20 minutes. Like, yeah, it's like we need to stop. Basically,
we should probably wrap it up.
Like, you know, at least long episodes.
So what's your favorite thing in fandom this week, and then we'll wrap it up unless anybody else has any more questions. We got some tweets. I guess I could we got a response to Swaggity Swag from Step Quietly, which is, thanks to Darcy, I can't thank Mohidner with anymore without immediately going meow meow. So
I have exactly the same problem, because all the way through I was reading like this book of Norse myth. I was just reading it as meow meow in my head. Just absolutely. In Darcy's voice, it's meow meow.
Oh god, I should have put up the there's a really good panel from Ultimates, which I don't read because I like my characters alive. Where Peter like where Peter Parker can't pronounce it at all, and he goes through all these lists of things, and then Thor just says it like
oh my god,
in there with like the runes, and it's giant. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's amazing. I love Peter Parker.
Actually, yeah, could we maybe spend a couple minutes talking about pulling Spider-Man into the Avengers? Because Andrew Garfield has already started his press tour talking about how he would love to be a member of the Avengers, which I'm glad he's on that. Like,
I don't know, like, I mean, I wasn't wild about the first movie. Like, I liked Andrew Garfield in the role. Like, he made a great Spider-Man. Like, he was fantastic. Yeah. But the actual film itself, I was just like,
Well, I haven't seen his Spider-Man yet. I think I was kind of traumatized by the end ones of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and I just...
It's a work of art. It's a work of postmodern. That dance scene, the whole dance sequence.
Yes, thank God! Someone else enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed that.
Oh my God,
I've only seen it once, but I just watched it. I was, like, when I saw it, I was just like, this is hilarious and beautiful.
I saw it in theaters with a friend of mine, and we were, like, literally falling out of our chairs. Like, I couldn't stop laughing. And no one else was laughing.
Hilarious.
No, that bit is hysterical.
I had exactly the same experience. Like, I just thought it was so funny when I went to see it. Like,
and and nobody else, everybody else was just watching, and we were like, how can you not understand, like, how ludicrous this is, but how Peter Parker dumb it is. It's like, it was like watching newspaper Spider-Man get, like, a movie. Oh my God. It was phenomenal. I just think it was dumb that they decided to make Andrew Garfield's first movie an origin story, because I'm really, like, I'm sort of blah about the new Superman movie, too, because it's like, I don't care.
We know the origin already.
We get it.
The origin. Yeah,
like,
that's kind of how I feel about it, too.
Especially with Superman, where it's like, oh, Superman, nobody knows who he is. It's like, everybody knows who he is. Like, and if you don't, you can do, like, an origin story in, like, 20 seconds before the credits.
Right.
You know?
Like, and I also am really pissed, and I love Amy Adams, and I think she's actually going to be a really kick-ass Lois Lane from what I've read. But there seems to be this, like, this slant in some of the interviews about her, where it's like, totally reinventing Lois Lane to be a hard-nosed, like, serious reporter, and it's like, and no, it's like,
that's what she always was.
That's what fucking Lois Lane is, you assholes. Like, she has a Pulitzer.
Yeah.
Step off. I love Lois Lane, so I'm excited to see her.
How can they say that about Lois Lane? Like, the whole point of Lois Lane is she's a really serious reporter. That's like the point.
Oh my God, the misunderstanding of Lois Lane was really thrown into stark relief with the 75th anniversary Superman is this year. DC Comics is doing, like, variant covers for it, and Lois Lane does not have a variant cover, but Lex Luthor does. Lois Lane was
Lois Lane. She's like the main character apart from Superman.
She was in the very first Superman comic, but Lex Luthor sure as shit wasn't.
Well, I saw a bunch of people on Tumblr kind of being like, "Oh, happy 75th Lois Lane anniversary."
Right, there was a whole, like, Lois Lane celebration because everyone was like, "Fuck you, DC," which is a common refrain. I'm sure this podcast has, like, revealed my extreme Marvel bias, but whatever.
Which is right and proper, Laurel.
There's a Tumblr that's like one of those things where you get in the workplace where it's like, it's been such and such many days since our last disaster. There's from like 4 DC comics.
Yeah, the Outhouse did. Yeah, there's been this many days since a PR disaster.
Yeah, from DC.
Yeah, it was. So, but there were people that were like, I'm seeing a lot of people laud Lois Lane and not really give a lot of respect to Superman. And it's just like, you know what? There could definitely be but there could be a Lois Lane without Superman, but there could never be a Superman without Lois Lane. So I am excited for that part of the movie because
Also, I'm really excited because she's 37 and he's 28.
Ooh.
So it's like, she's older than him by like 10 years. Which is, it's real fucking unusual.
Okay, well that fact actually did make me a little more interested.
Yeah.
But I just, like, man, I watched Smallville. I think I got all the origin story I need.
That's the thing, because it's like, I was talking about this to someone recently, and I was like, I'm not super, like, obviously the trailer, I think it's a good trailer, it looks good, but at the same time, like, the origin story, it doesn't make much sense to me. And then they were like, yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, like, the last origin story wasn't for ages, because, like, the 2005 Superman wasn't an origin story. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. But then at the same time, Smallville has been going on for the past, like, 37 decades.
Yeah.
Everyone knows. And also, everyone just knows, like, it's Superman. You don't need to explain much. Like, it's basically, like, is it a bird, is it a plane? no, we know what's happening.
Like, he should be public domain at this point, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, he practically is. You know, it's like the number of people you see wearing Superman t-shirts. Like, I don't actually think people have, like, gone and phoned up DC and been like, DC does.
Yeah, basically. So, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I guess it'll be interesting how they interpret it, because, I mean, I do like Superman as the immigrant story. So, we'll see how that plays out. I really enjoy... I hope
that everyone in Krypton is as Australian as they sound in the trailer, because Jor-El sounds very Australian to me, and I'm into that. Like, yep, keep him Australian, fine, do that.
I think that's my biggest interest in, like, these superhero movies is how they reflect political climate. I've written a couple papers on this in college because I'm an asshole who writes papers about comic books in college.
No, that's fine.
So I'm really intrigued by Superman and how they're going to play that out. I feel like Iron Man, even though I haven't seen Iron Man 3, I was talking about this with people, and so it's possible that this is still relevant. Like, Iron Man gets really close to being a super interesting political movie, and then at the end it's just like a bunch of robots beat the shit out of each other. And it's back to being a superhero movie. So I'm interested to see how Avengers 2 plot goes
Iron
out.
Man 3 definitely has a bunch of robots beating the shit out of each other, but I think it does have some, like, socio-political elements for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Not to spoil it, but there's definitely some interesting commentary to be had there.
Right. I wish, like, it would go full throttle with it, though, because I think... I mean, obviously Marvel Studios will probably never really do that kind of thing. And if they do a everybody who doesn't hate Civil War wants there to be a Civil War movie, and it's just like, I don't think...
Joss Whedon said that he wants to do a Civil War movie. And
but I don't want a Civil War movie. Civil War makes me so sad.
I love the idea of Civil War, and I think it could make an amazing fucking movie, but it would be... Like, you would have to get really political with it.
Yeah.
Because it's, especially now, like, it's such a political story. Like, and so, yeah, so I wonder what Avengers is going to be, because now we have, like, the team set up.
Yeah.
Like, well, so the intro movie is done. So what...
Well, I have read
is it going to relate?
Interview somewhere that Joss wants the second one to be, yeah, like, smaller. And more character-driven than, like, trying to go bigger action. Instead, he wants to go small.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I
think that's a good direction to go, because there's so much interpersonal potential with the Avengers that character-driven action could be really good with that team.
Yeah, that could be really interesting. Okay, so favorite things in fandom, and we can wrap up. Oh, also, Step Quietly says, not only is she a kick-ass reporter about Lois, she despairs of Clark because he is mostly terrible at being a reporter, which is true, and now he's a blogger, so fuck the New 52.
Actually, you know, I think my favorite thing, just like kind of to tie into that, everyone just needs to follow the fake Clark Kent blog Twitter feed.
Oh my god, it is amazing.
It is so good, because it's like, it characterizes Clark as this like extremely hapless like person who's been given this job, like, blogging for like the Daily Planet, but it's like he doesn't really know how the internet works, and he's just always tweeting like Lois Lane without like at replying her, like just talking about really inconsequential stuff, like, hey Lois, do you want me to get you a panini, but like not at replying her at all. So it's just like talking into the void, and then he'll try and make like puns about current events and just be like so pathetic. It's just like, Clark Kent Tumblr, sorry Twitter, like, you're amazing. He's just
That is pretty amazing. I don't know what my favorite thing about fandom this week is.
I can go. I've been into Hannibal fandom recently, and the effort that fandom is making to really engage on social media with the creators and the network to try and save that amazing show is really cool.
Absolutely agree. Like, it's so good. They may have got cancelled.
They're in limbo right now. We still don't know if they're renewing it or not.
Because I heard Netflix is interested.
It's a crime, because like they are so high quality and like just it's like one of the best TV shows on
Well,
air.
I heard a couple other networks were interested, including Netflix, which would be interesting because the production values on Hemlock Grove look pretty high, even though that show makes no goddamn sense. So. Yeah.
Like, Hannibal needs to be renewed. I mean, after seeing that show, like, now I'm just like, Mads Mikkelsen all the time. He's beautiful and perfect.
Yeah, they really need to renew it. It's really well done, and the acting's all great, and
they put so
they've
much
got some
detail
great
into everything.
guest stars lined up for season 2 if it happens. Like, what are you waiting for, NBC?
I really like Brian Fuller, who like saying that he wanted to have like if his ideal casting for Hannibal's uncle would be David Bowie, and I was just like, kill me.
Also, Gillian Anderson, who is amazing. She just did an AMA.
Is it Gillian and not Jillian? I thought it was Gillian.
It's probably Gillian.
I'm sure it's Gillian.
Sorry. I'm really bad at pronouncing people's names. She just did an AMA on Reddit, actually. That might be my favorite thing in fandom. She was pretty awesome about it. It was like really cool and totally crazy in the best way possible. Like, yeah, I pretty much have to schedule literally every part of my day, otherwise I just lay in bed and don't do anything. So she has her life scheduled, like including things like hang out with children, like eat dinner with family kind of thing for like 6 months. So check that out. I like weird celebrity AMAs where they're just like really mundane.
Stars, they're just like us.
Yeah, and she was like, yeah, me and Dave Duchovny would X-Files movie, and it's like I would still see it even if it was terrible because I saw the other one and it was terrible, and I would just keep watching you. So that's all I had to really say about fandom this week, except I'm terrified about Teen Wolf because it's going to be really good, I think, but it probably will explode an entire fandom. So
how? That. Or I know, well, no, not get into that. We will have like a Teen Wolf episode in a few weeks.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a Teen Wolf episode that will literally just be high-pitched screaming the entire time. So thanks everybody for listening. We will eventually move this broadcast over to Fandom Spotting at YouTube, but for now it will be at the Fandom Spot on YouTube. And next week is boy bands, all kinds of boy bands.
Oh my gosh!
So tune in; it should be great, and enjoy your week.